Welcome back to Full Moon Flock and Stock. We're up here in the barn, and I want to kind of have bring up a sensitive subject when it comes to raising pigs. There's a bunch of schools of thought on raising pigs. A lot of them are good. Some of them are really crazy, But the one thing that most everybody has in mind is they want to try to provide the best for their pigs, whether they're raising some feeders to feed the family, or they have a sow operation where you're doing farrow to finish, or you're selling piglets. You always want to make sure you raise, the best possible animals. And one thing that I've noticed on YouTube is there's a bunch of misinformation out there, and we here at Full Moon Flock and Stock want to make sure that our animals are in the best possible condition. And one of the ways we do that is they get vaccinations, and then they also, if we look at their body condition and we determine it's not because they're not getting enough food, we have to give them a wormer. So we use ivermectin or Safeguard. They're very good medicines. They're top notch. I'm gonna be very honest. There's some people out there who think that the only way to really worm your pigs is naturally. They're using, I don't know if charcoal is, I know they feed charcoal, but then they're also using apple cider vinegar, and the big one is diatomaceous earth, or DE. And I know for a fact that I've seen the videos on YouTube, and there's a few rather larger ones that they're all about diatomaceous earth. And I want to give a warning to everybody. Diatomaceous earth does not work. There's no studies to prove it works. When you put it in for pigs to eat, once it becomes wet, it's useless. So for that factor alone, it will not work. There is some feed companies, ours does not do it, that will put diatomaceous earth inside of their feed. They're not doing this as a worming method, they're doing it as a clumping method to try to have the feed not clump up together. The best thing for our pigs is if we notice that if we or you notice that they have issues with their condition, you can get their fecal tested. That's not an issue. Call up any vet and they will take a look at it, run some samples. It will cost you some money, but you'll know that they have worms. Then you can give them the ivermectin or the Safeguard as approved. I recommend the injections. I know it's difficult sometimes, but if you get them put it in them when they're feeding, you can hit them with that shot and they're a little less likely to be spooked because they're concentrating on feeding. But to really raise these animals properly, you need to properly take care of them. You don't ever want to see an animal suffer. And the body conditions where they can get does make it seem like that. So I want to make this as a heads up. If you're going to buy pigs and you're going to have to worm them, if you want to give them apple cider vinegar or pumpkins because of the seeds, that's awesome. Hey, but don't make that your only way to properly worm and manage the worming with your pigs. And also, don't do it with sheep either. The one YouTube page, I know for a fact, did it with their sheep, and they had, I believe, 5 or 6, and all but one died because of the worming. And sheep is very difficult. You need to, if they're out on grass all the time, you got to hit them with probably a regimen every 6 months or so. Or you can do the eyelid test. My wife, She knows what to look for. If they're, I believe it's a yellowing in their eye, then they need a round of wormer. And if their body condition gets bad, they need a round of worming. But if you want to properly take care of your animals, please listen up. Try to use these methods. Do your research. There is actually no tests or studies that prove that those will actually stop them. The ivermectin for pigs will work if they have lice. It'll work with parasites in their body. So it's what you want to use. Ivermectin or Safeguard is what we recommend. And I know a lot of pig forums recommend it. It's all about the health and well-being of our animals. The majority of us had the mantra that the pigs only have one bad day on the farm, and that's when they're sent to be dispatched. So you always want to make sure you raise them properly and treat them properly. So this is for new pig people, maybe people who've just gotten into it not too long ago or whatever. Do your research and talk to the people who really know. The all natural will not be a sustainable thing. And I don't want to see somebody else lose a lot of money with it. We had lice on our first sow, and I went to a store, and the woman's like, "Oh yeah, I highly recommend diatomaceous earth. Just sprinkle it on them. It'll kill the lice." And I didn't know any better. I didn't do my research, so that's partially my fault. Well, guess what? I went through and we did it. It failed miserably. The lice was still there. So we decided to use Safeguard. We actually, for that one, loaded in Twinkies, which sounds really weird. And we fed the Twinkies to the pigs, so they all got we knew roughly the body weight that they were. They had their Twinkie, and that lice went away. So you really gotta be on top of things. Don't just listen to somebody say, "Oh yeah, that just works so perfect." Do your research. This is a business for some of us, and for others, you're safeguarding your food. Just know what you're doing, and you can ask your provider, "Hey, do you worm your pigs when you buy piglets?" So we generally don't worm piglets. It's up to you if you want to. We've been lucky that for our situation where they've been, that the worming has not been an issue. We have had some pigs we've wormed, and we've been on the soil for 3 years now, so the worm issue is really something we're watching drastically. We are moving to the new property, so it's going to take a little time, but we are still going to be keeping a watchful eye on our pigs. So if you have any suggestions or recommendations, hey, pass the message on for everybody to see. I hope that everybody is kind of getting ready in this winter months for the fun that'll be with the spring. And if you're getting pigs, look it up. Just look up the different things you need to take care of, whether it's the fence situation to house them, or the structure to keep rain and snow off of them, and sun out of them, whether it's a water tub or whether it's feed. Those are all different things you want to look at. But just know that there's always groups out there and research you can find that will help you out with this. So don't be afraid to ask any questions. But this has been Full Moon Flock and Stock. Hope everybody has a good day, a good weekend, and enjoy it. Talk to you later.